Okay, it is 6 o'clock, and we will start this meeting. We're calling to order the East Peoria City of East Peoria's Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for the month of October. The first item on the agenda is roll call.
Driscoll.
Here.
Whitman.
Here.
Tippett.
Here.
Brashears.
Here.
Sams.
Here.
Kelly.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Excellent. Next item is the approval of the minutes from our meeting held on September 9th, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll
Thank you,
second.
Troy.
I'll second it.
Who seconded it first?
Oh, Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Okay. Brad, you got that? Okay. And our first case of the evening is case V-2024-003, and that's the petition of Delbert and Barbara Tebelman for a setback variance for a privacy fence on property located at 2201 Cole Street. That property ID number is 05-05-09-106-011. Would the petitioner approach the podium, please? And are you Delbert?
Yes, I am.
Delbert, how do you pronounce your last name?
Tebelman.
Thank you. I just want to make sure I got it right. Will you go ahead and explain to the board what you would like to do and where you want to put this fence? That's. Sorry, I have to swear you in. Thank you, Brad. Will you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Now you may proceed.
Okay, what we want to do is put up a privacy fence. It would be 9 feet from the sidewalk onto our property. It'd be 9 foot from the sidewalk. It'll be a privacy fence, vinyl. It'll be 6 foot by 6 foot panels. The reason why we want to put it up is for 3 reasons. The number 1 reason would be for safety. We are a family-oriented couple, and we have grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and we have outings. We have, especially this time of the year, we have hot dogs, weenie roasts. During the summer, we have parties, and we have yard games, and sometimes balls may wander out into the street, so we would like to have the fence up there for safety reasons. Secondly, we would like to have some privacy. We have absolutely no privacy at all along that edge of the property. Also, we would like to try to eliminate some of the traffic noise coming in and out of the subdivision that is behind us, and also the noise that is coming along on the front of the yard on Cole Street.
Questions for Mr. Tebelman? Tim?
I don't have any questions.
Troy?
Yeah, just a couple. You were talking about the setback from Stonewood Drive. How far is the setback going to be from Cole Street?
Oh, I think it's 58 feet from Cole Street. It'll be sitting back 58. It'll be by the front of our house. It will not go past the front of our house.
It's in the picture here.
Okay, I'm looking at the
We
other
did
picture.
submit a drawing
Right.
with the dimensions, I believe.
Yeah, I was looking at the other picture. So then there's no need, it won't go across the drive then at all? That was my
No,
next question.
absolutely not.
Okay. That's all I have.
John?
He answered the questions.
Okay. Don?
Yeah, I got a couple questions. You have a row of evergreens there.
Arborvitaes.
Arborvitaes. Is the fence going to be, are the arborvitaes going to be inside your yard, or are they going to be outside of the fence?
The arborvitaes are going to be removed,
Okay.
and the fence will be coming down basically right where the arborvitaes are at now.
Where they're at now, okay. And then I was out there this afternoon to take a look, and there is a little, by your neighbor's driveway, there's a little post with a pink flag on top. Is that the corner of the property?
That is the corner of the property, right.
Okay.
But that is not where the fence is going to be going.
Okay, because that, that post was closer, I think, than 9 foot to the,
Oh.
to the
Yeah,
sidewalk.
no,
So you're gonna go in,
that is, yes, we're going to be 9 foot in from there.
okay. How about, how close is that, is the fence gonna be to that in terms of being parallel to the neighbor's driveway?
I figure we're going to be coming in about 3 feet from that
spot?
property line.
Okay, okay, thank you.
George, questions?
Yes, so the back of the fence behind your house, you have the tree line there? Mm-hmm. So the fence is gonna run like down that tree line, the back fence?
You
You have
talk-
stone wood here. and
Yeah.
You got a tree line here.
Okay, running parallel to the back neighbor's driveway, parallel to that is
You're
what
gonna
you're
come
talking
that
about?
close to this driveway?
No, it'll be 3 feet in from our property line.
Right.
It'll be going back to the tree line.
Back to the tree line.
Right.
Because you got an area right at the back by the tree line where it looks like it's kind of mulchy looking and you've cut down some trees and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, it'll
So
be,
that's gonna be in the fence or out of the fence? The mulchy area, that's not grass.
oh, that'll be inside the fence.
That will be inside the fence. Okay.
But not all of it, right? Because if I remember, that got pretty close to the to the neighbor.
Right.
That whole landscaped area, is that yours? Is that your property?
Yes,
Okay. So
And
then,
that's all gonna be in the fence.
that will be inside the fence.
so the property line is about, can you guys look it up to see, is the property line like 6 feet away from the neighbor or something? It's not that. Can you look up on the GIS? He's gonna look some technicalities
Okay.
up to see how close that, because if I remember, that property line's 6 feet away maybe from the neighbor. Does that sound right?
I think it's further than
I think
that.
it's 20? Wow, okay. I'm,
I would say
okay,
it's probably 10 feet.
okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. Okay. Okay, that's all the questions I had.
According to the GIS, it's about 20 feet from the property line to the edge of the driveway.
Okay. And is the house about the edge of the driveway as well? Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, about.
Yeah. The house does?
Yeah, where the garage is, from the drive, goes to.
Yeah.
So about 3 feet.
Okay, cool, thank you.
I don't think I have any questions that haven't already been asked. If you want to go ahead and have a seat, we will
Okay,
take
thank you.
questions from the audience. Okay, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on this particular case? Okay, approach the podium for me. And will you state your name and raise your right hand?
It's Tim Lipsy.
Hi, Tim. Would you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, and go ahead and express your opinion, and we may have some questions for you as well.
Sure. Yeah, I'm the neighbor right behind. So there's a natural buffer between us and them as far as the privacy on that end of it goes. Whenever it first came up and I saw the sign, because they had told me they were thinking of putting a fence at the edge of the property, I just thought, well, I guess that's the way it is. And then I saw the sign and then got a letter. And then I went on the website to see what the regulations currently in place are. And by the regulations I see in place, it's got to be a minimum of 10 feet or halfway between the property line and their house is actually where that fence is supposed to go, set back off of Cole Street, because they're in a corner lot, which would put it about 27 feet back. If they put it where they're talking about, just backing out of the driveway into Cole Street, safety-wise, is going to be a concern. Not only that, the aesthetics aren't going to be the greatest, entering a neighborhood with a privacy fence up that close to the road.
Questions for Tim? Tim, Kelly,
I don't have any, no questions.
anybody? Troy or John or Don?
Is your house the first one in on Stonewood?
Yes, it is, 100 Stonewood.
Because you said something about backing out on Cole Street, so it would.
I'm not Cole
It'd mess-
Street.
it'd mess
Stone,
you
if I
up.
back out on Cole Street, that'd be bad.
It'd be bad. It messes you up from backing out onto.
Onto Stonewood, yeah.
And cars coming in off of Cole Street.
Yeah, because we're talking, from what I understand, like a 6-foot high privacy fence there. And if there was cars coming in off Cole Street onto Stonewood, there's not a lot of margin for error there.
No.
And just backing out onto the road can be tough whenever you have a privacy fence that's 6 foot high set that close to the road and close to my driveway. If the fence just goes up where the regulations say they're supposed to go up, there's no issue at all.
The big issue, isn't it, the height?
Well, yeah, what I saw, it's supposed to be 4 feet, but then it was a little confusing on what I read. The side, when it talks about side yard, it said no higher than 6 feet. So I was a little confused there. It said 2 front yards in the regulations that I read on the
Yes.
website. And the front yard's not supposed to be any higher than 4 feet. And if you go 4 feet, it's supposed to be 50% open and 3 feet can be solid from what I read. So, and they're looking for a privacy fence. So I know 4 feet's not going to give them any kind of
Right.
privacy at all. So if it's just in at the normal setback that the regulations state, they can have a 6-foot solid privacy fence. It doesn't affect me, you know, and it wouldn't affect the safety going in and out of the driveway or anything else. And would look a whole lot better than pushing a privacy fence up close to Stonewood.
Any further questions,
Ty,
comments?
Ty, I've got a question for you. So one of the things that was brought up that's maybe a little different is the gentleman talked about putting the privacy fence not up against the street, but the one that is parallel with this gentleman's driveway. I think he said it's going to be 3 feet off the property line. What is that's the back portion of it, but what is the requirements there for a fence? Is 3 feet okay? I'm just curious if we need to be adding
So
that
on
to
a rear lot line for a typical lot, you can put it right up to the lot line.
Okay,
So the case here and
So that's
his
not the
his
problem.
assessment of the code as it's written is correct, that it's half the distance or 10 feet, whichever is greater. So the proposal here brings that up closer, and so then you get into, you know, how close is that rear fence to the lot? And that was something that when we went out and visited the site, you know, we share that same concern as what is there an appropriate distance there that provides, you know, ample view shed for the adjacent property owner, but then also affords some privacy for the petitioner. So is it the code prescribed, or, you know, is there something in between that point?
so what is if you can give me a number, because you were saying half of this and half of that. So the petitioner is talking about putting the fence 9 foot from the property, 9 foot from the property line, or from the
Sidewalk.
From the sidewalk.
3 foot from the backside.
Okay, so 3 foot from the property line, 9 foot from the sidewalk, which is probably 5 or 6 foot from the property line, is my guess. What can he do per code? What does code say?
Yeah,
How
so
far?
without a variance, the code would say half the distance or 10 feet, whichever is greater. So in this case, it would be half the distance.
Half the distance of what?
Between the lot line along Stonewood and the house. So that
Half the distance between the house and the lot line.
And half the distance basically puts it like pretty square with the front of my house where
Yeah.
the garage is.
Yep.
So even if they go to the property line, it doesn't make a lot of difference because it's not going to interfere with anything. I don't know why they bother putting something over, because there's a natural barrier between, you know, their house and ours with
Sure.
the woods. But regardless, the big thing is the fence along Stonewood is where the biggest problem is that one.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any further questions or comments? Okay, thank you. You can have a
All right,
seat.
thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the council? That's good. Just promoted myself to the board on this issue. And we state your name for me.
Yes, Albert Birch.
Pardon?
Albert Birch.
Thank you. Albert, will you raise your right hand for me? And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, and where do you live?
I live in the Stonewood Division on Stone
Okay.
Creek Court.
Okay.
And I'm kind of in the same position as him, is the visibility of seeing traffic when turning into the court, into the cul-de-sac, and then also leaving. We already got restricted to our right, turning on Cole Hollow, and then having that fence go all the way up to the sign. It's kind of dangerous. It's a lot of kids that, ride bikes in that neighborhood, and if you're turning into that, you wouldn't be able to see them clearly. And then also with the fence, I kind of live on a corner as well. And when I was getting my fence, they told me that you only can go to the structure of your property. Is that correct? The furthest structure of your house?
So the side that the house faces.
Correct.
That's correct. So
Right.
it can't go past the front plane of the house.
So-
And that's, the proposal here does contemplate that. It wouldn't go out past the front of the house, the direction the house faces onto Cole.
Okay.
So the extension here, the request for the variance is what goes out towards Stonewood. So the fences proposed would not go beyond the front of the house as it faces Cole Street, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. But then, like I said, it's just it blocks visibility to the people that are leaving and coming into that area too. So.
Anybody have any questions? Okay. Oh, John has a question, okay?
So is there a fence on the other side of Stonewood too that's a type of privacy?
It's more of like a gated one, but you can see through it. But it has
So if
he has a
you're
lot
coming out
trees.
of Stonewood, and you're going to go into town, there's a fence that already comes up to that corner too?
Comes up to his furthest part of his house,
That's it.
but it's not a 6 foot though.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else in the audience wish to address the board on this case? Okay, seeing no one, we will move on then with the next case. Excuse me, and that's case SU-2024-017 and case SU-2024-018. That's the petition of Mike Blunier of Blunier Builders for a special use to allow a building facade inconsistent with City Code 5-1-10-6 on properties located at 205 and 206 Eastgate Drive. And those property ID numbers are 01-01-13, -202-019, and 021. Would the petitioner approach the podium, please? And will you state your name for me?
Mike Blunier.
Hi, Mike, and will you raise your right hand for me?
Could I affirm instead?
Yes. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, go
Could
ahead.
I also
and-
have Eric join me? Because he's got some stuff he brought.
Oh,
Is
it's
that-
fine.
is that
Go
okay?
ahead.
All right. Can I walk up there?
Yeah,
Okay. I don't know how many of you there were, so I have about 5 folders.
I think we can, yeah, we'll be fine. George and I can share, and, yeah, we're fine.
What you will see in the folders is on the left side of the folder what we're proposing on both the new building and on the existing building. The one to remodel, one to new build. And then I've also brought siding options. I don't know where you'd like me to set those. Here's an option of the panel. There's not the color. There's another option of the panel.
Eric, if you're going. I need to be right. Okay, and Eric, if you will step behind the podium and state your name for me. And raise your right hand. And do affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Excellent. Okay, now you go ahead and explain to the board what you want to do.
Okay, yeah. So I've got samples. So again, so what I brought in your folders, on the left-hand side, you'll see some drawings. So there's a proposed new building, and then the second, the third page, I believe.
No. The answer is no. I'm speaking on behalf of James Hosco Jr. and Jamie Ball. Isaiah McGee and Ashton Ball. The answer is no. You need me to sign it, bud? I will.
Okay. Continue, please. So what you'll have there, on, like I said, on the left-hand side, is what we're proposing on the new building. And then, I think it's the third page, you'll see what we're proposing on an existing building at 205 Eastgate. That is a building that we bought, and we would like to add steel facade to that building, and then we would like to talk about this steel facade on the front of our building that we're looking to build right across the street. And then on the right-hand side, I've got a flyer. On our flyer, the top white and red building is that panel that's sitting on the table right there. And then I just brought other pictures. The wood-looking picture is that Vesta one that's sitting right here between John and Troy. That is that steel product that we're looking to use as an accent both on the new building and on the existing building. And then I just put a couple of other pictures in there showing the mega rib that we're asking to use in other commercial settings. That's the mega rib, correct, yes.
And I would just add to that, we're a post frame builder, and we bought the existing Lincoln office building, which is what we'd like to clad part of that with steel. Where if you've driven by there, we're in the process of repainting it right now. We'd like to add some steel cladding to it to partially dress it up, and then also that's what we do as a business. And then we would like the two buildings to match, have that same design element. So we brought the same color tones, and we'd like to use the same panels on both buildings. So those are the two panels that he's referencing there.
And one of the things that kind of drives us as a company is we're post frame builders, but we really like to push the envelope of what post frame can be, because so many people think that it's just a standard building with an ag panel that was built in the country. Now it's moved to town. But when you look at that panel, it's got depth to it. It's wide. It gives it an architectural element. That's why you're seeing steel on a lot of buildings across the country. It lasts a long time. It's a 40-year warranty panel. So it's a maintenance-free type product, and it works really well with our style of construction. So we wanted to use the building that we built also to highlight what you can do. Not only can you look at post frame as a true commercial option, but it doesn't have to just be what everybody thinks it is with a 9-inch or a 12-inch rib pattern.
Questions, Tim?
I have no questions.
Troy?
Just curious, when you say you want to use this to accent, what are we talking about? Where would this fold in to the overall design? It is the wood look on the drawings. Just on this one? Yep. So if you go back on your last pages, there's wood accents on the existing Lincoln office building. Right. We want to put it on there as well, because what we're looking to do is we're looking to add texture and depth to the building, so that one doesn't just look like a big painted concrete building. Sure. We're trying to add texture and depth, add an architectural element to it. So when you look at our building, the same wood panel is going to be that Vesta panel. The white panels are going to be mega rib running vertically. The black is going to be that same panel but running horizontally. Panel? Yeah. So we want to show the texture both ways. But black, you said, right? Yeah, but it'll be in black. Yep. Okay. I have no further questions.
And one other thing I'd point out is that the Vesta panel looks very similar to your standard horizontal lap siding, vinyl, aluminum. What we like about the steel is it has a 40-year warranty. You don't get that out of vinyl siding. steel siding is what we do. They offer it in wood grain textures, which is really neat. If you flip it open, it shows the color choices that they offer in there. It just looks really sharp. And I think you've got a picture open there that shows a completed building in white and black and that same color of wood grain. It's extremely sharp.
Yeah.
It's very modern, and that's kind of the vibe. Our company colors are kind of black, white, and silver. We do a lot of our logos in that. So that whole color scheme jives with what our company logo is, and brings it, makes that whole property look a lot more modern than what it currently does.
John, questions?
No.
Was it a yeah or
He said
a
no.
nah? Oh, Don.
Yeah, I've got a couple. So you said a 40-year warranty on that one. Does that include color fading? I'm just curious. I painted my house this weekend, and so I might be.
So anytime you're dealing with steel and they talk about a warranty, yes, paint is part of it. Now, part of that warranty is it's not going to be, there will be some fading.
Yeah.
But in the steel,
It's just a little
warranty-wise, there's X number of shades it can drop before it becomes a warranty issue.
So on the new building, you're looking to do basically anything that's vertical is this, and then the black and the brown are going to be. No, the black is going to be this horizontal, and then the brown is going to be that, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then on the existing building, it appears to me that you are not reskinning the entire building, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you're just adding some
Vesta wood grain accents. That's where the wood grain
it's
texture
the same
is.
thing, black is
And
horizontal,
the black,
this.
well, on that building, we'd like to run the black vertical. Just
Okay.
because of they have less seams because of the length of that area of black versus run it vertical.
Yeah, yep, I
So,
see.
We'd like
Okay.
to run it vertical on that one, but black horizontal on the other building.
So most of the existing building is going to stay the way it is. You said you're painting it now, and you're just going to add some accents. Okay,
Correct.
all right, thank you.
I don't have any questions.
In dealing with, or going through this process with the city, did anybody mention maybe adding just some other elements? I don't know, anything to do with landscaping, or do you have any plans to sort of soften the facade with anything besides the materials that you've brought here tonight?
So on the new building, it's all concrete along the front. There will be some landscaping out along the road,
Okay,
which is in our plans that we submitted
okay.
for the building permit. On the existing building, we do intend next year to do some landscaping along the road. We'd like to add, I don't have it designed yet, so I don't want to speak too far out of line here, but we'd like to add some structure. I'm thinking like arborvitae or something like that, to bring some green up against that white.
Okay.
So yes, the road side of that, we do intend to do something, but I don't want to speak too far to it because we haven't actually got a design put together.
Okay. I don't know
We-
that I have any further, oh, go ahead.
This is our main office. We want to be proud of it. So we're
Yes.
trying to present something that looks very nice, that we can be very proud of, and that you can be proud of, to have, a building that was sitting vacant to be inhabited
Right.
and then dressed up.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions. Anybody else going back? Anybody have any further comments or questions? Okay, you can have a seat then. And is there, go
Want me
ahead.
to leave your samples up there for now, or do you want, I don't want
Yeah,
to be.
do until we're finished deliberating. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
I'll go at least stick this.
Hey, Eric, what's your last name?
Eric Minor.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to the board on this particular case? Okay, seeing no one, then we will return to the first case that we heard tonight and go through deliberations. And that would be case number V-2024-003, and that's the petition of Delbert and Barbara Tebbleman at 2201 Cole Street for a setback variance on a privacy fence. Will a significant hardship result to the owner if the strict letter of the regulations are carried out, given the particular physical surroundings, shape, or topographical conditions of the property?
No.
Nope. Is it an inconvenience to the property owner to follow the regulations of the ordinance?
No.
Is the variance requested based upon the uniqueness of the property?
Yes.
Is the variance based exclusively on the desire to make more money out of the property?
No.
Will the variance be injurious to the other property or improvements in the neighborhood? Possibly. Has the alleged difficulty or hardship been created by any persons presently having an interest in the property and thus self-imposed?
No.
No. Will the proposed variation impair the adequate supply of light and/or air to adjacent properties?
No.
Will the proposed variation increase the congestion of the public street?
Could.
Will the proposed variation create additional traffic safety problems?
Possibly.
Will the proposed variation increase the danger of fire to adjacent structures?
No.
No.
Will the proposed variance substantially diminish or impair property values within the immediate neighborhood?
No.
Will the variance be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, or comfort or general welfare?
Possibly.
Will the variance request be generally applicable to other properties within the immediate area? No.
No.
Thoughts, comments?
I have a question for Ty. So on the front fence, since it's facing Cole Street, it's a solid fence and it's 6 foot. Do we have to change that to make it okay?
No, since the proposal is to keep it behind the front plane of the front face facing Cole, that does not require any sort of variance here. The only portion is that which is going beyond that half the distance limitation that we discussed earlier.
So, I believe in this drawing here, it looks like the petitioner wants the fence to be 54 foot on Cole Street. So that means the fence on Stone, whatever it is. Stonewood is about 54 feet away from the house. I believe that is also a few feet from the property line. So I'm guessing the house is, could you tell me if you could take a dimension from the house to the property line on Stonewood and see if it's approximately 60 feet, 57 feet? So if we were to code, he could do it half of that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So if it is 60 foot from the house to the property line, he could go 30 foot from the house, and he'd be 100% to code. He wants to go 54 feet.
According to GIS, it's roughly 55 feet.
55 feet.
Approximately.
Okay, so he could go 27.5 foot to code. He wants to go 54 foot. I have no idea what to do here on this one. I'm just we're getting closer with some facts, so at least we've got the facts here. So he wants to go 54. He could go 28 and be 100% to code.
Further comments, thoughts, motion?
Real quick, I just think, I understand the one of having a privacy in the backyard. I have a privacy fence around my backyard myself. But I also do think there's codes written to provide safety to some of the citizens around those properties. And I think this is one of those cases. I think that, I don't know if the code exactly 27 foot is enough, but I don't think where the current fence drawn is a good spot for the safety of the individuals and the properties around there either. So that's just my 2 cents before we take a vote or a motion.
And one thing to remember too, especially to the gentleman in the green sweatshirt, the fence he's looking to do, the yard he's looking to do, it doesn't go all the way to the stop sign in the corner. I don't know if you thought that was going to. It stops at the front of his house. He's got a couple different fronts, but it's going to stop at the front. the back front, if you will. So it actually is going to stop in terms of Cole Street, it's going to stop probably 50 or 60 feet in front of Cole. I don't know if you had known that. So it is, and that's going to help the safety a little bit, but I agree. I'm not sure what to do here as well. I see everybody's story here. I see the need to do the entire yard. I understand what you're talking about, but then it does seem to creep up into the Stonewood area as well.
Is it possible then that somebody makes a motion on exactly what they've proposed, and if then there is some other solution, they're allowed to come back and propose a different footage other than what they're actually petitioning for? Just a suggestion, because I can't make a motion.
Well, I know I've heard suggestion of where the gentleman that's on Stonewood, this gentleman here, where maybe we angle that corner, cut the corner off, chamfer it, whatever you want to call it, which is not in the playing area, if you would. It's more in the tree line, so it wouldn't take away from the grassy area for the grandkids and such. So that could be a possibility as well. But you still then have that fence. So the blind spot for him helps a little bit. And the fence isn't right up against his property. But you still got the fence right up on Stonewood as well. And again, I'm just talking, I haven't come up with any thoughts.
So is there any way we know how far the arborvitaes or whatever they are from the house?
Again, I'm just using a measure tool here on GIS, so everything I say is approximate.
Okay.
And it's not exact.
No,
That's okay.
I want to make that perfectly clear that the best way to know is to have someone come out with a tape measure and measure, but according to GIS.
Can you tell Brad used to do survey work, if you can't tell.
Oh, is that what it is? I thought it was either that or he was a lawyer or something.
Right.
It's approximate, the arborvitae are approximately 50 to 51 feet from the house.
Okay.
And just so everybody knows, there is a really good website. If you just Google East Peoria GIS, you'll find the website where you can take measurements and you can measure all the to see how close you are to this and that. It's actually a very helpful tool.
Can we have the petitioner step up again, ask a question?
Sure, Mr. Tebbleman, will you come to the microphone, please?
Can I ask what's the reason of taking it out, the fence out that far to the stone court there instead of bringing it back? I'm not even talking about in code, right? In code would say you would have to half that distance, like bring it back 27 foot. But if we get it like 10 to 15 foot off your property line, that would give everybody plenty of room to view, give people to go around. So I was just curious as to why you want to take it out that far, just aesthetically more pleasing, is that?
The more, the less we take it out, that's the less of the backyard we're going to have, number one. Right now, the arborvitaes are 9 feet from the sidewalk back already. So if you want to go another foot, 10 foot, that's, yeah.
We play our bocce ball, croquet, and then we got some kids that like to throw the football. And that is basically the only yard we would have is right to there. Because if we go the other way, all we got is a big valley.
Behind us, there's a big gully right behind us,
That's all
so.
we got. That would be the only yard we would really have to play the yard game unless we go back out to the front street and play.
Okay, thank you.
Any other?
Anybody have any more questions for the petitioner? Okay, you can have a seat again.
That's really their side yard. Right? This would be their backyard.
So are you thinking of a distance that's somewhat of a compromise for everybody?
Well, I know that they say that the arborvitae's are 9 foot back from the sidewalk, but is the sidewalk the property line? That's my question, right? I doubt.
No.
The property line is probably 3 foot away from the sidewalk or so, correct?
We'll get an exact dimension here in a second.
I think it's, from what I'm hearing, it's a few feet. Is that what?
We've had surveyors come out, he's got them all.
So the red flags that are out there now, is that the property line?
Green flags hanging down there, that is exact property line.
Okay.
from a surveyor that I've had come out and survey the property.
So I would entertain a motion that as long as they take the Stonewood court and bring it 10 feet off of the property line, not off of the sidewalk, but off of the property line, I would make a motion to approve that. If somebody wants to make a different motion, that's on them, but
Do you
that would
want
be my
to,
motion.
do you want to add the cut in the corner?
I think if you bring it back 10 foot off the property line, you don't have to
Okay with
cut
that.
that corner.
Okay.
I think you're good then.
Fine.
Do I have a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, second by John, motion by Troy. We're actually in the middle of deliberations now. So, and whatever happens tonight, this case will still go to city council? Oh, it doesn't? See, I get it wrong every time. Okay, this is it then. Okay. Yes. Okay, so we have a motion on the table. We will need to vote. Roll call vote.
Driscoll.
Yes.
Whitman.
Yes.
Tippit.
No.
Brashears.
Yes.
Sams.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. So to the Tebblemans, if what we decided tonight is still not agreeable to you, which is 10 feet from your property line on Stonewood, then you will need to contact the city and come back through the process, correct? Okay. Moving on, then, we will do deliberations on the next case, and that is case SU-2024-017 and 018. The address is 205 and 206 Eastgate Drive, and the petitioner is Mike Blunier of Blunier Builders. After conducting a public hearing and considering the facts, the ZBA makes the following finding of facts and recommendations.
Hey, do we want to do these one at a time, or do you want to do them together?
I'd say both buildings at the same time. They're doing the same thing to both buildings.
Well, in my opinion, they're not. Because
can-
he's got a lot of this vertical siding on this one, and he has very little of that on the other one.
You can specify that in the conditions based on whichever case you want to specify it to, and still approve them both together, in my opinion.
I like that idea.
So you just reference whichever property is
So
part
do
of
them
that
together,
case.
but-
Just do them together, but be specific about which building you're requiring. How's that? Okay. Will the establishment, maintenance, and operation of the proposed special use permit be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare?
No.
Will the proposed special use permit be injurious to the use or enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for uses permitted in the district?
No.
No.
Will the proposed special use permit diminish or impair property values within the surrounding neighborhood?
No.
Will the establishment of the proposed special use permit impede the orderly development or improvement of surrounding property for uses permitted in the subject zoning district?
No.
Or have adequate utilities, access, roads, drainage, or other necessary facilities to be or been provided?
Yes.
Or have adequate measures to be or been taken to provide ingress and egress from the site, minimizing traffic congestion and hazards on public streets?
Yes.
Will the proposed special use permit conform to all other applicable regulations of the zoning district?
Yes.
Okay. Comments, discussion?
So the reason I suggested maybe pulling them apart, the existing building, I think is fine, and I don't know if I got issues with the other one either. But they're adding some accent pieces to what's already there. They're going to improve the look. They're going to make it look exciting. They're going to use some of their products to display. I have no problem with that whatsoever. The only issue I may have with the new building may have to do with, and it's just the idea that the code says you're not supposed to use steel. And on this one, again, you got some accent pieces, which are phenomenal, very good looking, very much accents the building, very much accents what they're doing. But then there's a lot of this as well. But at the same time, it's what they do. That is their. Is this your property, or is this another brand as well? It's yours. Okay.
No, the product is.
I'm talking about the steel here. Is this your actual product that you? It's somebody else's product. Okay. So that's what I've got. There is a lot of it on this other building. It doesn't necessarily meet code. That's why we're here, obviously. And I'll let somebody else speak.
I feel like part of the new building that's, if I'm not mistaken, the new building sits back off of the road even further. And so I don't know anybody really driving by is going to see it. They're going to see the old Lincoln office building first and foremost. And until you get back on that driveway, you're not going to see what appears to be more of the utility building.
And with that, I'll make a motion. I like what you just said. I'll make a motion to approve both of these case numbers, SU 2024-017 and 018 for 205 and 206 Eastgate Drive, as proposed, with some additional accents on the old, whose building is that again?
Lincoln office.
Lincoln office. And then the way it's shown as well on the new building, all steel, but with some accent pieces.
And are you talking about accent pieces that they've already described?
Accent pieces as shown is what I am.
Excellent. Okay. Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Don and George.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
So I've got two different drawings here. One's got some black on the corner and one does not.
They were two different options.
Okay, do you know which one you're planning?
I would prefer the one without the second black option. But if it was the only reason I say that is because
Can you come to the microphone? The people across the hallway are going to.
And that's my fault. I ask questions across the room. He wants this one and more.
I would prefer the one without the second black accent, mainly because I want the attention drawn to the nicer area as you come down that street.
Good argument.
We only put the second one on there because as we were talking with Ty before we applied for this, he said the nicer you make it look, maybe adding a second accent, which we played around with. We probably drew up 12 different options to add a second accent. It just starts to compete with the main area, especially as you approach. So I would prefer without. That's why we wanted to bring both. But if it was like, we really want that second one on there, we could live with it. It would be.
So I'm an architect, and you can see the entrance better on this one. That is the entrance, obviously. So I'm okay with that one as well.
Okay.
For my proposal.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any other digressions? Okay. Roll call vote.
Driscoll?
Yes.
Whitman?
Yes.
Tippett?
Yes.
Brashears?
Yes.
Sams?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Okay. Motion passes, and I'm not going to tell you, Brett, are they finished, or do they go to city council?
This one will go to city council, so. Yeah. Two. Given that city council is tomorrow night, there's no way we're gonna be able to turn this around that quickly, unfortunately. So, I believe that the city council meets, boy,
Well, 2 weeks after that,
Yeah.
this is the last one of the month, and then,
it would, we don't do a third one in a month, I don't think,
not
so,
unless it's necessary.
correct. So I think it would be the 5th, oh wait, yeah, I think it's the 5th and the 19th. I think you can find those dates on the website. I can also have Ty send you those dates when we get done here tomorrow morning. I just don't know off the top of my head,
So the
sorry.
5th is a Tuesday, so it probably would be the 5th and the 19th, and they read it. What we kind of tell people is, if you're here for the first reading, that's probably the most important, because that's when there may be other citizens or council members or the mayor who has questions for you. Typically, when it lays on the table for 2 weeks and they do the second reading, it's pretty quiet after, after that first time. So you wouldn't have to necessarily appear both times, but I know that does push it out to November for you, and that's not probably as efficient as you'd like.
No.
There's no way this is going to city council tomorrow night, correct? Okay, so what we stated was correct. We will Yes, now you can grab your stuff. And we will proceed then with the final case of the night, and that's case A-2024-008. That's the petition of the City of East Peoria to amend the Four Corners Overlay District Plan. Who is my petitioner? Ty, will you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, and will you go ahead and explain what this is about?
So this is an update to the Four Corners area plan. It's largely housekeeping. One of the items that in the initial plan, and we've had one revision of it, had to do with fronting setbacks on Washington Street. And for the most part, it references East Washington Street, but there is a one-block segment that exists of West Washington Street from Main to the railroad tracks. And the intent was to have continuity throughout that area. So the language here does include that specific item in a number of different locations in the plan. It also addresses actually something relevant here this evening, talks about building facades. And while we have this kind of blanket prohibition on metal facades, this one does open the door to be used as accent to the buildings. So that is also included in this as well. We'll likely come back before the ZBA with an update to the levy district plan as well. There's some changes to be made there. But this verbiage is not only going before the zoning board, but also being shared with the planning commission later this month. I'm open to any questions anybody might have.
Okay, questions for Ty. Tim?
I don't have any.
Troy?
No, I don't have any.
John?
None.
Don?
I have one. On sheet 8, number 12, building facades. It says metal facade materials. It used to say metal facade materials are highly discouraged, and now says metal facade materials, except where used to accent the building's appearance, are highly discouraged. We just saw a great example where it can be used to accent
Correct.
the building's appearance. What does "are highly discouraged" mean?
It doesn't seem terribly enforceable.
Well, so, I mean, at least the code language speaks to, there's already a blanket prohibition on sheet metal. And that's something that we're certainly willing, and I've explained to the petitioners that if we can make some distinctions between some of the products that they have and traditional sheet metal, which is you think a standing rib agricultural building type sheet metal, we're certainly open to that conversation. It's not easy to make that distinction, but maybe there's some good language out there. So here, it kind of further reinforces that it's discouraged, but it is prohibited, and so this doesn't necessarily circumvent that. This wouldn't open the door for a full sheet metal building, and perhaps we could change that to be more specific.
So it's not meant to be prohibited. Is meant to help introduce a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've come a long way from pole barns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know.
I mean, there's some very attractive products there that don't give off those vibes, that don't
Right.
look like what traditionally you think of.
Definitely. Questions for Ty?
Yes.
Okay, George?
So on the one thing it's talking about, building fronting of East and West Washington between railroads and Coal Creek.
Right.
Okay, so the one says 100% of the lot, such buildings are located, so that's not saying that they can build up to the sidewalk, is it?
So the first one deals, so this is on page 3, 2A deals with setbacks. 2B deals with lot coverage. So in theory, between the railroad tracks and Coal Creek, you could have a building that covers the entirety of that parcel.
So like the 100 block that we got where the buildings come all the way to the
Correct.
sidewalks.
It's designed to encourage that type of development.
It'd be to the property line, which may or may not be the sidewalk.
Right,
Okay,
And is there zero setback on those?
correct.
okay. That's the only question I have.
Okay. I have no questions. So do we have any further comments, or would somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve as presented.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tim and Troy. Roll call vote.
Driscoll.
Yes?
Whitman.
Yes.
Tippett.
Yes.
Brashears.
Yes.
Sams.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
All one in favor.
Excellent. We'll move on to old business, which don't have anything listed. New business. I believe Thursday night, there's an open house here at City Hall.
4 to 7.
Thank
in
you.
the atrium.
4 to 7 in the atrium, and come and hear the plans and also contribute your thoughts and ideas as well.
So this is a comprehensive plan update, and so they're going to have some visuals for people to respond to, looking particularly at this Four Corners area, as well as some conceptual ideas for Richland. So there'll be more to look at, more to respond to, react to, and that's what we're looking for, is feedback from anyone and everyone that's interested.
Okay, I got it on my calendar.
Is this the event that was postponed from a few weeks ago?
That's correct.
Okay.
Also, just quick thing, I've created a new map that has supposed to help create site plans. There's a list of instructions, and it helps you to be able to do measurements from the property line, kind of like what Don was saying. The GIS is a tool to help us. This is mainly to help people create site plans that are usable by our department, and should hopefully cut down on the number of times that we ask people for different measurements or things that might be lacking in their site plans when they submit them.
The cocktail napkin site plan.
Exactly, we're trying to cut down on that.
Okay, that's, I think, a good thing. And last, we have the citizens' opportunity to address the ZBA on a non-agenda item. Seeing no one, yeah, we had our little interjection there. And so I will say, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn
Thank
the
you,
meeting so
Tim.
that we can watch the Bills beat the Jets.
There you go. Second, do I have a second real quick?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned until November.
Go Bills.
Thank you.